Hey there, it is Dusty Thunder again with another Reddit story for you. This one is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Taking Back a Shawl My Wife Made for a Bride-to-Be After She Was Uninvited from the Wedding? Oof. My wife Lena crochets a lot and often gifts it to friends and family. When her second oldest brother got married, she made the bride a shawl to wear over her dress in the evening. The bride loved it, and ever since Lena has made shawls for everyone in her family getting married. Now Lena's oldest brother, George, is getting married again. Lena doesn't have a relationship with George as he was abusive to her as a child, but if she has to see him, then she is polite but distant with him. She doesn't want to cut off the rest of her family because of George. I work with George, and while we aren't friends, we're friendly at work. Lena encouraged this. When George got moved to my team, I was going to request a transfer, not wanting to expose Lena to George as my team do a lot of get-togethers with our significant others. As it is a family wedding, Lena's mom asked her if she would crochet a shawl for George's fiancé, and Lena agreed. It was arranged that once it was finished, I would take it to work to give it to George so that Lena didn't have to see him. Earlier this week, the shawl was completed, and I emailed George at work to let him know that I would bring it in today as the wedding is tomorrow. When I got into work this morning, I gave George the shawl and let him know that Lena and I were looking forward to the wedding. Come lunchtime, Lena called me to let me know that George's fiancé had called her and told her that she was no longer invited to the wedding, citing the place they are having the wedding and the reception at is too small for the number that they have coming, so they're having to make cutbacks. However, I was still invited to the wedding. What the? Okay, it just got personal. I was mad at this because they clearly only invited Lena to get a shawl, which to me is just rude. If they had asked Lena outright to make one, she probably would have done it because she loves to crochet. On my way out of work, I noticed George wasn't at his desk, but the shawl was. I was still mad that they had used Lena to get a shawl, and I just shoved it in my work bag. I left a note on his desk telling George since Lena was no longer invited, the shawl and I would no longer be attending either. On my way home, I told Lena what I had done and asked her if she wanted to go out instead, so as to not waste having a sitter. Lena was upset that I had taken the shawl, as it was causing an uproar in her family group chat where people were calling her petty because I took it back. Lena wants me to give it back. I don't think I should. They don't deserve Lena's kindness. However, at the same time, I don't want Lena to be upset with me over George and a shawl. Am I the astronaut for taking back the shawl? Edit, I have messaged the group chat letting them know that I took it, and if they should be pissed at anyone, it should be at me. But I would also do it again because no one gets to be a dick to Lena. No one puts Lena in a corner. Okay, there is an update to this one, but let's chat about it for a second. They don't deserve the shawl. They clearly don't deserve the shawl. So the initial question here was, am I the astronaut for taking back a shawl my wife made for the bride-to-be after she was uninvited from the wedding? So my initial understanding here was that they just asked her to make a shawl, and there was no contingency on her attending the wedding. That was clarified later on that it was part of her being asked to attend the wedding. Here's the part that really pisses me off. They only uninvited her. They said that her husband, was still invited. That became a personal attack. It did not become we don't have room, we have to make some space, so you guys, I'm sorry, can't go. It was only Lena, her husband, can still come. There's no other reason than a personal attack to do some shitty shit like that. And it may have been just George. This may be a George thing. It doesn't matter. Consequences, right? And the fact that they waited until they had that shawl in hand to pull this shit makes it even worse. And if that was the trigger for the dickery that was going on here, yeah, that's right, dickery, I just made that up. If this was the trigger for the dickery, then take the shawl back. Yeah, I think that's awesome. The only problem that I have with hubby's actions here are that Lena made it, and she had a problem with him taking it back. He was doing it for her, and I understand this, and I would have done the same damn thing, but ultimately it's her decision because she made this for them. That's the only problem I have here, is that she wanted him to give it back, and he said no. And I think in this instance, you should respect your wife's wishes. What they did was shitty to the shittiest shitty degree, and she knows that, and you know that, and they know that. George sounds like real special, classy kind of guy. But at this point, taking it back against your wife's wishes, it's stirring the pot. And now what are you going to do with it? Now you're going to have this thing, you're going to hang on to it, and it's just going to be this memory of this bullshit occasion. So I don't know. I don't know if it's worth taking it and keeping it or not, especially when your wife told you not to. I love you standing up for her. And I love you saying that you and the shawl will not be attending. What they did singling her out was absolute bullshit, and you stood up for her, and I think that's great. Let's see where the update goes. The biggest thing out of all this that pisses me off is that they singled her out.